crime crazy people.
Welcome to Veil of Humanity, where we explore the thin line between conscience, fragility, and accountability. We are your hosts, Melonie Yelvington
and Kimberly Taylor. Today's trigger warnings are going to include murder, prostitution, and sexual themes.
So in today's episode, the story of Aileen Wuornos. Fun fact before we dive in there is a TV show based off the Alex Cross books. The first season features Aileen and a few other killers. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. It's on Prime Video, definitely worth a watch. A woman whose life and crimes shocked a nation, challenged stereotypes, and raised deeper questions about trauma and gender and self-defense and the justice system. Was she a predator or a deeply damaged individual driven to violence and self-defense, or both?
Good question.
Yeah.
So grab your favorite beverage and a pillow to scream into as we take a look into a female serial killer's dark case.
And just so you know, we are a fan of the word cursey words, so we'll probably be using them.
Sorry, Courtney. Also, if you hear any deep breathing or any kind of pitter-patter, our mascot, Bronc Augustus, is in the room with us, and he's a little noisy because he's an old fat man.
Be sweet.
He's a sweet boy. Okay, Bess, are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Born on February 29th, 1956 in Rochester, Michigan, Aileen Carol Pittman, later Wuornos, grew up under extremely difficult circumstances. Her father, Leo Pittman, never played a role in her life. He was later imprisoned for rape and died by suicide in prison. At age 4, she and her older brother, Keith, were placed with their maternal grandparents after their mother abandoned them. Abuse, neglect, and instability marked her childhood. She alleged sexual molestation by her grandfather and early exposure to substance abuse and criminal behavior. Her older brother died at age 21 of cancer, leaving her alone in an already fractured world. As a teenager, Wuornos drifted into prostitution, vagrancy, and various arrests. It was a pattern of survival off the grid. By the late 1980s, she had moved to Florida and was working along the highways trying to carve out a life. This background is not offered as an excuse, but as context. The world she emerged from matters in trying to understand what came next. And I know you look at a history of any of the serial killers, you look at Ted Bundy, Ed Kemper, Green River, you look at some of Dahmer, Gein, and their childhood stems from abuse and neglect, and, I know we were talking earlier when we were eating before we started recording, we were talking about mommy issues.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously her mom abandoned her, and I know you see more common with male serial killers, but a lot of them, parents abandoned them, mom gave up, dad wasn't in the picture. It's such a triad, and there's just all these different things that kind of lead into it, and you just kind of look at the signs, and it's sad.
It's very sad.
Between November 1989 and November of 1990, Wuornos murdered at least 7 men while working as a sex worker along Florida highways. The first known victim, 51-year-old Richard Mallory, in Clearwater, Florida, on November 30th of 1989. She later claimed that many of these murders were acts of self-defense, that the men had either raped or tried to rape her. The prosecution argued differently. They said greed, robbery, cold predation. So, she was just money hungry. She wanted that money. She just didn't want to.
I don't think she was very smart.
I don't.
Because how are you going to claim self-defense with men that you were already willing to give something up to them? that they didn't have to take from you.
Exactly. They were paying you for this service.
Yeah, so
how are you saying that they just trying to take their money? I mean, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
You know, the victims, they had been shot, robbed, and she stole their vehicles. You know, Wuornos, her MO was diverged from common patterns for female serial killers. Typically, female offenders, they killed their known persons, often via less direct methods, you know, usually poisoning. You don't see a lot of women because women don't want to get their hands dirty.
Yeah, they don't go out and shoot the men.
They're not stabbing them. Yeah,
it's very gritty work.
Yeah, so there's usually a lot of women, you know, they just poison.
Yeah.
You know, she instead, she shot male strangers, and then she just stole their cars, because how is she going to get away? This combination of survival sex work, alleged self-defense, and violent homicide led to intense public and media fascination. So on January 9th, 1991, Wuornos was arrested in Volusia County, Florida, after a police chase involving the vehicle of one of the victims. So the evidence at this point started mounting up. They found palm prints, the vehicles, witness statements. You know, the pivotal moment of it all was her partner and person traveling with her, Tyra Moore.
Mm-hmm.
She cooperated with investigators. And in a jailhouse phone call, she captured Wuornos' pledge. I'm not going to let you go to jail, Ty. I love you. If I have to confess everything just to keep you from getting in trouble, I will.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's she trying to say right there?
It sounds like she's trying to say that Ty was kind of helping.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what that sounded like. I never realized she said that. And the way that she worded it, it just sounds like, you know, don't worry, I know you did bad stuff too, but I'll take the blame for all of it.
Yeah, like we're just going to kind of ignore what you did.
Yeah.
Okay, so right here, I want to put in kind of Wuornos' own words so our listeners can hear her tone and how she's discussing all this, because I think once you listen to her speak, it's a raw and uncensored interview, so she's very gruff sounding, but I think I just want you to listen to her point of view. So we will go ahead and get that inserted, and we'll take a listen, and you can kind of form your own opinions.
I got a message that Aileen wanted me to come meet her at the local jail. She had something to say.
Okay, I cannot go in the execution chamber and die in the execution chamber as a liar. And I cannot go in the execution chamber and be executed under the devil. I have to come clean and cleanse my spirit in the name of Jesus Christ. So I have to come clean and tell the world the lies that went on through my mouth. I mean, now prosecutors and cops.
And that you killed the 7 men.
Huh?
That you killed those men in cold blood.
Yeah, and I got to come clean that I killed those 7 men in first-degree murder and robbery. As they said, they had it right. Serial killer. Not so much like thrill kill. I was into the robbing biz. I mean, you know, serial killers are in this thrill killing jazz. I was into the robbing, and eliminate a witness. But still, then again, I got a number, so it's serial killer. But I'm coming clean before I go in that execution chamber and be executed. That I killed them.
And so when you met them, from the beginning, did you know that you were going to kill them? When they picked you up in their cars?
I pretty much had them selected that they were going to die.
But when you're saying that there was no self-defense, so there was no self-defense?
No, there was no self-defense. I'm being really straight up about everything. There's no self-defense. I'm really sorry what happened about everything. I was in this, to me, this world is nothing but evil, and all of us are full of evil one way or another in whatever we do. We have evil in us, all of us do, and my evil would just happen to come out because of the circumstances of what I was doing. Hitchhiking, hooking, on the road. I was a homeless person all my life. And then the hitchhiking hook, and I learned off the homelessness and cruising all over the United States of America and stuff. And so learning how to be a hooker as a hitchhiker
Right.
eventually got tiring. In the end, I carried the gun for protection, but then I got where I was getting a real problem. Our rent was due $1,200 behind. Tyra was doing a lot of beer drinking and stuff. She wanted to go out all the time, so she was burning up the money I was making. I was making good, about $200-300 a day, sometimes
Did
150.
she know what you were doing?
Oh yeah, Ty always knew everything I was doing.
So you were very close?
Yeah,
Right.
and I still miss her, and I still love her, but I'm really sorry about everything I've done. I miss Ty. I lost Tyra over this. And then the people that lost their loved ones and everything. I really think first about the people that lost their loved ones, and then Ty second. Because I have to put them in first on this whole thing. I'm really sorry for, them losing their loved ones, man. I know the feeling.
And what about with Richard Mallory? Because you gave that testimony with Richard Mallory.
Yeah, Richard Mallory was not self-defense. Richard Mallory I killed him I needed his wheels to move the stuff, and he had the right amount of money I needed to move into the apartment, so.
But what about the testimony that you gave in court about?
That's just, like I was saying.
About the Visine and...
Oh, I was just doing lying biz. That was just my lying gig, trying to beat the system.
Really? So that was really all... None of it was true? Because in court you gave such a graphic description of what had happened with Richard Mallory.
Yeah, after sitting around thinking how I could drum up a story.
That was pretty convincing.
Was it? That's sad.
Well, I thought so.
God, that's sad. Well...
And it's not that you just decided that you wanted to die and you wanted to get it over and done with, that you changed your story.
No. The reason is it's serious. There's no way, and nobody should go in that execution chamber dying on a hope for a lie, and even by the second make it out of this thing on a lie.
But I heard, that you just couldn't stand being on death row after 12 years.
Nick, this is the last time I'm going to say it. You have to kill Aileen Wuornos because she'll kill again.
Hi guys, this is Courtney. I just wanted to pop in real quick. I will also be attaching Miss Wuornos' last interview at the very end of the episode. So make sure you listen for that as well.
So investigators found that Mallory had a previous record of sexual assault. Information that was not initially disclosed during the trial.
Interesting.
So, the post-trial period revealed that aspect of her self-defense claims could have support. But, again, the prosecution, they severely resisted that narrative. But, again, that brings up that question. If you are seeking out, you're a sex worker, and they're paying you for those services, where's the self-defense come in?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she...
Well, I'm not saying that she, maybe she changed her mind. She's entitled to change her mind. But it's just odd to me for you to say self-defense, that they were going to rape me, but I was there with them to have sex with them.
Yeah, we exchanged money. There's money on the table for me to do ABC with,
She just did not have a good defense for her actions, that's all.
No, and maybe if this Mallory would have been the only victim,
only one? Yeah. Not seven?
Not seven, then that may have had a little bit more, but, I mean, maybe two, but 7, that's really hard defense right there. That's really hard to come back and say, well...
Yeah, I think you could get away with that one time.
But 7 times?
But 7 times you had to defend yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the trial of Aileen Wuornos for the murder of Mallory began in January of 1992. She was convicted of first-degree murder and subsequently received 6 death sentences after pleading guilty or no contempt to the other murders. One of the victims was never found. Again, another missing case.
Yeah.
Her case went up to the Florida Supreme Court on appeal. Issues raised included ineffective assistance of counsel and competency to stand trial. Because to put it bluntly, she was a mental case. You watch her interviews, you watch anything with her, and her face, her eyes, everything, you can tell when someone's evil.
Yeah.
You can see the coldness.
Her
Jodi
eyes-
Arias is a good one.
Her eyes look like they're about to pop out of her head sometimes when
Yeah.
she's talking. She's just so
She's
crazy,
Yeah.
lunatic looking, actually.
She was executed by lethal injection on October 9th in 2002 in Florida. Her case raised major questions about capital punishment for female offenders and whether established systems adequately consider trauma and gender in culpability. But,
So what they're trying to say is if she has trauma as a kid and she's a girl,
she shouldn't have gotten death penalty. No.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that.
If you're hardcore, you think hey, take what you can, this is your punishment.
Yeah. Just because if a man would have slept with, or taken 6 sex workers and killed all of them, or 7.
Yeah, we're not going to show him any.
We're not going to show him mercy. He's still going to...
Yeah, no.
No, it should not work regardless of your gender.
What did they say? You do the crime, you should do the time?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The story of Wuornos demands we look deeper beyond the headlines. Experts have pointed to diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and the impact of early abuse and neglect. Again, it goes back to that triad, the fire starting, or the bedwetting beyond age 12, and animal cruelty. But a lot of them were neglected by their parents from a young age.
Yeah.
They either didn't bond with mom, or dad abandoned. There's something that was going on. But I'm also here to say, just because you have trauma and abuse as a child does not lead you into being a criminal or a murderer.
No, that was the case that should be most of us.
That would be most of us.
Yeah.
So there's a lot coming into factor here. Her case is studied in forensic psychology as an exception to typical female homicide patterns. Women who kill are often domestic killers. Wuornos, she killed strangers violently with guns.
But she wanted to rob them for their money.
For their car, to get away. They were her and Ty were on the move. She didn't want to... You don't kill somebody and stay in the area.
Food to survive. And
Yeah. She was survival instincts, but again, women are often domestic killers. They kill somebody, they know whether... But you do have the women out there that will kill a pregnant woman and cut the baby up. So there's...
Yeah, but she's already 2 years deep into lies in her own relationship and has to produce a baby now before the man leaves. I mean, so that's what those are all about. But
That's true.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, so Wuornos, though, is just she had it in her head. If it was not self-defense, does she just have it in her head that she had to kill them and she had no other way? And then I'm going to claim rape?
Yeah. That's I pretty much think that's how she thought. Did you ever watch that movie Monster? Where it had
with Charlize Theron.
Playing her. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that makeup was amazing.
Highly recommend. It is such a good
That's
movie.
a good
If you
movie.
want a good perspective, highly recommend that movie, Monster.
Yeah.
Sociologically, her case highlights how sex work, poverty, abuse, gender dynamics, and self-defense claims intersect, how they all just kind of come together. And that brings into question, so you're doing self-defense for women in violent contexts. I completely think that, if you're in a violent situation, you're in an abusive situation, please defend yourself. I'm highly for that. But again, in her case, was it really self-defense?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions, but I mean, again, nobody deserves to be raped. Nobody deserves to be abused. Nobody deserves any of that. But you're also a sex worker. You're a prostitute. That is what your line of work is.
That's what you're out doing.
You're out doing that. But it still does not give those men the right to hurt you.
Yeah.
So her case also forces us to question how trauma, marginalization, and survival behaviors are treated by the justice system. Did the system fail her? Or did she fail the system? Perhaps both?
I don't know. I think it depends on how you look at it, obviously, because I feel like we're all given, I don't want to say afforded, but the same opportunities. You know, anybody, if you or I want to go out and become a police officer, we can do that. I just think that
If I want to go rob a bank, I can go try to do that. Doesn't mean it will work.
yeah, we're not going to get away with that probably, but you know,
I have that choice.
we can try. It's called free will. So
Yeah.
she was able to make her life whatever she wanted out of it. You know?
There's people that have gone through horrific abusive situations and came out on top. They didn't become addicts. They didn't become criminals. You know, they're hardworking people who have made an honest living that are surviving in this world.
Yep.
Albeit they may be a little fucked up, but they're still surviving.
Yep.
So few criminal cases become so entwined with media and popular culture as that of Aileen Wuornos. She's often dubbed America's first female serial killer, though that label is challenged by historians.
Yeah, I think there might be women before her that are serial killers for sure.
For sure. She was the focus of documentaries. For example, Aileen, Portrait of a Serial Killer, that came out in 92. And, of course, like we were saying, famously, the Oscar-winning film Monster that came out in 2003. That was where Charlize Theron portrayed her. And I believe Ryan Murphy has a new Monster coming out next year that's going to be about her. I'm personally not a fan of Ryan Murphy's shows, but except for American Horror Story, but we'll see, because he kind of takes and kind of makes them more brutal than what they really are, than what the real cases are about. So but that's TV. It wouldn't be good TV without it. You know, these portrayals, they shaped public perception as a violent predator. You know, showed her as a victim, and also showed her as both. You know, more recently, new documentary projects revisit her story from a fresh lens.
I think it's almost like, how do I say it? I don't know. Never mind. My mind went off somewhere, and now it's. Anyway, go on what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the tension remains is, do we sensationalize her crimes or use them to learn about a broader systemic issues?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember where my mind was going. That's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I do that all day long.
Squirrel. It was like squirrel.
Because you get to talking this way and your mind goes,
yeah, that's kind of what I just did. Sorry.
So what is the legacy of Aileen Wuornos? On one level, she remains a cautionary tale of extreme violence and crime. On another, her case prompts reevaluation of how the justice system handles vulnerable women who kill. It highlights how childhood trauma and abuse can shape violent behavior, how societal attitudes towards sex workers affect investigation, prosecution, and public empathy.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there that don't feel bad for prostitutes that get killed or go missing or any of that stuff either, because they're like, what are they doing for society? They're not doing anything for society, so they won't be missed.
But they will. They're human.
They have families.
That's still somebody's daughter. Sometimes
Sister.
it's someone's mother.
Mm-hmm.
That is still a human
Aunt.
that doesn't deserve to be killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, they're. You know what, baby? You make that money. Whatever you gotta do.
Just be safe doing it.
Just be safe doing it.
Yeah.
You know, gender. The investigations also how gender influences perceptions of violence and self-defense. You know.
Yeah.
Because you don't. Men are more. And I hate to say it this way, but men are more violent. But women are crazy as hell. There's some women I wouldn't want to mess with.
Yeah.
So, and it also brings up how capital punishment is applied to women and what that says about gender injustice. Again, you kill somebody,
Life for a life,
life for a life.
tooth for tooth,
Yep.
eye for eye.
Her case also continues to be studied in academic literature. For example, the article Serial Murder and the Case of Aileen Wuornos examines how female predatory homicide is understudied. Because you don't see it very often. You don't. There's not a lot of... Women are usually... rage immediately. I'm going to shoot and kill my husband because he's cheating. I caught him in bed. Or, I'm poisoning him over time. Or, or it's a mother killing a child.
The one could be a crime of passion, though. The one, if you found your husband in bed with another woman.
That is more of a crime of passion.
That could be crime of passion versus murder.
Murder.
All right, Bailey Sarian.
Schmurder. Okay, y'all. Let's breathe. Woosah. As we close this episode, Aileen Wuornos was many things. She was a victim. She was a wanderer, a sex worker, a killer, a symbol, a caution. Perhaps the hardest truth is that none of these labels alone suffices. Human beings, especially in extremity, often reside in multiple conflicting spaces. Her story challenges us to look at crime not only through the lens of what did she do, but why did she do it?
Yeah.
And how did the system respond?
They responded by killing her.
Yep.
Oopsie. I mean...
They did. It was death penalty. That's what she received, and she.
And that was Florida.
That was Florida. I thought Texas had like a,
Florida don't be playing around.
Florida doesn't. Texas has like a fast ramp, but our people still.
We got the fast lane over there.
But I think Florida is even quicker. Florida's.
Yeah, they're not playing around.
They don't play. Also her case, it asked, how do we treat trauma, abuse, marginalization, and ultimately, violence.
I was just wondering how you're going to be, at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Are you prepared?
I'm prepared. I'm all right with it.
And how...
I'm all right with it, but like I said, remember, let them know that I know that the cops knew who I was. After Richard Mallory died, I left prints everywhere, and they covered it up. And let me kill the rest of those guys to turn me into a serial killer. I know they did, because I was no professional serial killer or anything, or murderer, or whatever you want to call it, I wasn't special at what I was doing.
Aileen,
I did some sloppy work, and I left.
How have you prepared yourself for tomorrow morning?
I'm all right with it. Hey, I'm ready to go. Hey, I was tortured at BCI. They had the intercom on in the room, and they kept lying that it wasn't on, and they were using sonic pressure on my head since 1997.
Sonic
And every
pressure.
time I was trying to write something, I think they had some kind of eye in the cell, I'm not sure, but every time I started writing something, it went up higher. So I'm thinking that probably had the TV rigged. The TV or the mirror, something was rigged. They got a huge satellite on the compound. After they put the huge satellite on the compound, it could have been either rigged to the TV set or the mirror or something, because the electrician, when he put the mirror on the wall, he said, doesn't that look like a computer? The back of it, and he stuck it to the wall.
And do you think, did that affect your mind, do you think?
Huh?
Did that affect your mind in some way, the sonic?
It was crushing my head, and they were using sonic pressure continually. Then when I had 3 meetings with Miss Villacorta on it, every meeting I had, she increased the pressure of the volume of the comm, increased the harassment on the floor, increased the trays being inedible, just increased every bit in my complaints and trashed all grievances. They were trying to make it look like I was crazy at all times, rig up the room with torture. If I said anything about I think their whole plan was to try to make it look like I was totally crazy. And so nobody would believe anything I had to say about anything. And then drive me there if they could. I suffered so bad. I was really struggling to survive. Had a lot of trays that were attempted murder and everything. I had to wash all my food off. And then one day I didn't wash my food off and I was sick for 3 weeks, almost died.
But you're okay now.
I'm okay. I'm okay. God is going to be there. Jesus Christ is going to be there. All the angels and everything. And, you know, whatever's on the beyond. I think it's going to be more like Star Trek, beaming me up into a space vehicle, man. Then I move on, recolonize to another planet or whatever. But it's whatever's the beyond. I know it's going to be good because I didn't do anything as wrong as they said. I did the right thing. And I saved a lot of people's butts from getting hurt and raped and killed, too.
So are you saying that you killed in self-defense or in cold blood? What do you... Because you've changed your story. I'm just trying to...
What are you talking about? Change story on what?
No, about whether it was self-defense or not.
I'm not going to say it. You know, I'm not going to get in depth about my cases, Nick. I'm on my way to the chamber. Nothing stopping it. You can believe it or you don't have to believe it. That's up to you, man. Put a big question mark on your film.
What more is there to say about the cops? What more do you want to say about the cops?
A lot of stuff. Did you know that they were surveilling me before I killed? And then I knew it. And that it was covered up. Did you know there was helicopters dropping down from the sky? Deputy sheriff with decoys picking me up 4 or 5 months before my arrest. It was covered up.
But nonetheless...
Nobody ever asked me these questions.
Whether the cops were following you or not, Aileen.
Oh, whether the cops were following me or not, Aileen, what?
Let's say the cops were following you.
Yeah.
Let's say they were following you. They did everything that you're saying they did. Nonetheless, you killed 7 men.
Yeah, sure
and
did.
I'm asking you, what got you to kill the 7
men? And I'm
men?
telling you because the cops let me keep killing them, Nick. Don't you get it?
Not everybody is killing 7 people. So there must have been something in you that was getting you to do that.
Oh, you are lost, Nick.
So
I was a hitchhiking hooker.
Right.
Running into trouble. I'd shoot the guy if I ran into trouble. Physical trouble. The cops knew it. When the physical trouble came along, let her clean the streets. And then we'll pull her in.
But
that's
how come
why.
there was so much physical trouble? Because it was all in 1 year. 7 people in 1 year.
Oh, well.
But why not say now?
Because I'm out of retaliation for taking my life like this and getting rich off it all these years in total pathological lying. Yeah, thanks a lot. I lost my fucking life because of it. Couldn't even get a fair trial. Couldn't even get a fair investigation or nothing. Couldn't even have my appeals right. You sabotaged my ass, society, and the cops, and the system. A raped woman got executed. It was used for books and movies and shit. Ladder climbs, re-election, everything else. I got a big finger in all your faces. Thanks a lot. You're an inhumane bunch of fucking living bastards and bitches. And you're going to get your asses nuked in the end. And pretty soon it's coming. 2019, a rock's supposed to hit you anyhow. You're all going to get nuked. You don't take fucking human life like this and just sabotage and rip it apart like Jesus on the cross and say thanks a lot for all the fucking money I made off of you. And not care about a human being and the truth being told. Now I know what Jesus was going through. They've been trying to tell the truth. And I keep getting it stepped on. Concerned about if I was raped, I'm not giving you book and movie info. I'm giving you info for investigations and stuff, and that's it. We're going to have to cut this interview, Nick. I'm not going to go into any more detail. I'm leaving. I'm glad. Thanks a lot, society, for railroading my ass. Okay, let's go.
Alright, my crime crazy people, we will be back next week with a brand new episode. To see all of our source material, please consult the show notes. If you don't mind, please leave us a review.
5 stars, if you will.
And let us know how we are doing. Don't forget to click that subscribe follow button and catch us on our social medias at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Veil of Humanity Podcast. Also, if you have any questions, you want to provide feedback, or have a case suggestion, please send us an email at veilofhumanity@gmail.com. Okay, Bronk, tell the people we will see them again next week.
Ooh.